The secret to becoming a successful communicator, it's not what you think. Courses and books are overrated, and although this is great, you need to practice. So if you want to learn what it takes to become a real successful communicator and influence people around you to have great ideas, then watch the rest of this video. I know you might think I'm too young to be teaching you guys stuff about this, but trust me, if there's one thing you can listen to me about, it's communicating and building relationships with people. The real secret to mastering communication is in the 7 habits I'm going to go over today. They're actionable, they're free, and best of all, they get results. So if you want to learn how to be a better communicator, watch the end of this video. Now, let's face it, bad communication skills can hold you back in every area of your life. If you're a genius that can't communicate, you're just going to be working too hard and making not enough money for what you do, right? People are going to take advantage of you because you can't communicate how valuable you actually are. So this is the most important skill you can possibly have. And that word, skill, that's intentional. Communication is exactly that. It's a skill that you build. When someone says, oh, she's just a natural speaker, she's just a natural communicator, she's built that. They've built that. They've built that skill through practice. No one's born able to just speak effectively, communicate super effectively. Maybe some have a more natural tendency towards it, but honestly, it's probably a result of reading more, practicing more, right? Garnering vocabulary. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself because I'm already starting to go over one of the topics I'll cover later. But just before we dive into the 7 habits, I just want to give myself a little plug. I have an email list that you can sign up for in the description below. So if you could just do that, that would be huge for me. I don't make any money off that, but that is where I promote my products. So it's just great to have more people on my email list, or you can support me on Patreon or subscribe to my podcast. All that just supports me a lot so that I can continue to do this and do what I love and pay for awesome editors and things like that. So I very much appreciate that. So let's get into it. Topic number 1 is active listening. Now, think about it. Have you ever had a conversation with someone where you've just felt so heard? You've just felt like whatever you said was really understood by your interlocutor, by the person that you were talking to. If you have, you know what a great feeling that is. Active listening is giving someone your absolute full attention. And when someone does that to you, the person speaking feels so understood, right? Just like I described in that previous situation. And that's exactly what you want people you're talking to feel. If people feel very heard and understood when talking to you, they will want to talk to you more. They'll trust you, which is something that is just so essential in any relationship that you can build, whether professional or personal. Active listening means giving someone your full attention, as I previously stated. You can do this, you can communicate that you're actively listening in a multitude of ways. One way that I love to do it is through my body language, right? I'm gonna nod while I listen to you. I'm gonna ask clarifying questions. When I don't understand something, I'm not just gonna let it go. If I say, hey, I don't understand that, or what's that word mean? That's communicating to the other person that I'm genuinely interested in what they're saying and I want to understand. You're not being a nuisance when you ask what something means. You're gaining a better understanding of it, and you're showing the other person that you're genuinely interested in understanding what they have to say. Do that. It will make a huge difference. Also, smile, nod, say things like, oh yeah, I get that, right? Nudge them along, help them out, and just be an active participant in the conversation, even when you're not adding to it with your own opinions, right? You can still be an active participant in that, and that makes other people feel so good about what they're saying. This one habit alone can make you a master communicator. It is honestly the most important one. If you're going to do anything I say in this video, if you're just going to pick one habit, pick this one, because people genuinely love engaged people, engaged listeners, all right? So this is one way to assure that people are going to want to talk to you. Okay, habit number 2. Have you ever felt like you're just rambling on, like what you're saying is nonsensical and you've spoken way too much and you wish you stopped 3 sentences ago, but you're still going? Yeah, everyone has that, right? And so what's the solution? Is speaking with intent. I find that when people are rambling on way too long, they often didn't have an intention of what they were going to say. Speaking with intent means knowing what you want to say and saying it with a purpose, knowing that what you say has meaning behind it and having confidence behind what you want to say. Now, how can you better assure that you're going to speak intentionally? Well, it's pretty easy actually. Before you open your mouth, say, what do I want to say? What do I want to communicate here? And what is the most effective way and the most concise way that I can do that? Am I trying to inform? Am I trying to persuade? Am I trying to connect? What's my intention with the words I'm about to say? Then choose your words carefully and avoid filler language. Don't say like all the time. That's horrible. People do not want to listen to that. Don't add random tidbits that are unrelated to what you're trying to say. Keep clear on your point, because the clearer you are and the more concise you are, the better people are going to understand. When I make these videos, I practice speaking intentionally by writing down what I'm going to say first, because when we write, we're much more careful with our words, and so I'm more concise and I communicate my ideas more clearly. And so if you want, you can practice becoming a better speaker and speaking with better intention by writing more often, because you'll become more in tune with that part of your brain that thinks about consciously what you're going to say. Speaking with intent is awesome because it's actually such an easy skill to improve upon. With just 10 to 15 minutes a day of choosing words carefully or writing, it makes a difference so fast. And next time you open your mouth, your words will be treated with so much more respect. There will be so much more validity to what you have to say because it'll be clear. All right, what's tip number 3? So, did you know that 70% of what you communicate is actually nonverbal? It's in your body language. So tip number 3 is mastering your body language. So what even is body language? Well, the gestures you make, your facial expressions, how much you're moving while you're speaking, right? What you're doing with your hands, that's all body language. And that communicates so much. If the other big thing, it's eye contact, right? So if I was to look over here while I was talking to you, like my eyes darting around, what happens to what I'm saying? Or do you lose interest in what I'm saying? Do you feel like I'm losing interest in you? It just ruins the connection that the speaker has with the listener, right? So keeping eye contact. And what would happen if I was moving if I'm fidgeting with my necklace or my ear? It's not gonna, my words have less validity because I'm speaking in a less confident manner, right? When you speak confidently, your words are therefore perceived as more veritable, right? They have more truth to them because the person has confidence, the person listening has confidence in someone speaking with confidence. While you're speaking, you want to smile, you want to show genuine interest in what you're talking about, show passion, right? All these things will make the listener of you just so much more interested in what you have to say and so much more likely to actually hear it, right? That's what you want as a speaker. You want people around you to hear you. As if you're communicating in a job interview, you don't want to seem boring. You don't want to seem nervous, right? You want the person listening to you to hear what you have to say and what you mean. And so the best tip to improve this is actually what I'm doing right now. Record yourself speaking. When I first started making YouTube videos, I hated watching myself back because the gestures I would make were so weird, right? And if I think they're weird, other people probably do too. And so I want you to try recording yourself speaking, right? Notice what you do with your hands, what you do with your eyes, how much your eyes dart back and forth. Do you do anything, do any weird fidgets, right? Notice these things and then record yourself again and consciously try to not do the things that you just noticed, right? You will improve. This is another area, another skill that is easily improved upon because there are not too many variables, right? It's easy to fix, it's easy to concentrate. You just have to be aware of what you're doing. All right, so on to skill number 4. I want you to expand your vocabulary. Now, I don't mean going through dictionaries and memorizing large synonyms for words, right? Big words do not mean better words. But when you can expand your vocabulary, you're going to be able to be more articulate with what you're saying and provide a clearer and more concise message. So there are many words for different things, but sometimes there's a very specific word that is going to really help your case or what you're trying to communicate, right? So I'm not using very large words, but the words I use have a purpose because I have a larger vocabulary. So the more words you know, the more words you're able to specify. So how do you improve your vocabulary without memorizing lists like you did in middle school? Well, there are a lot of ways, and how I do it is just by listening to podcasts with smart people with large vocabularies or reading books where they use big words. Honestly, the best way that I've improved my vocabulary was going to France and learning French. Learning another language with a similar base of ours taught me so many big words and or just words in general. But I have a much better understanding of the English language, and now I'm able to articulate so much better what I want to say. Another thing that I recommend doing to improve is pick one word that you really like and really want to know and practice using it in almost every conversation you have for a day, right? So like pick a word a day. For example, when I was, I think 2 years ago, so when I was a sophomore in high school, I did this thing called the word of the week. So a little different. And I would use words like stupendous or, I don't know, just big like synonyms for great. And anytime anyone would ask me, how's it going? I would say like, I'm stupendous, right? And just by using these words as much as I could for a week, now they're ingrained in my vocabulary, and often I'll just say them out of habit. And so if you can do this with big words or precise words that you really want to have a part of your vocabulary for more practical reasons, then they will stick. Trust me, I've done it. All right, tip number 5. Great communicators understand the emotions and the perspectives of others. If you don't understand or have empathy for the people that you're talking to, how can you plan on effectively communicating with them? Right? You want to be able to have empathy for the people you're communicating with because it'll allow you to craft what you're saying in a way that will get through to that person. Empathy is really the key to connecting on a deeper level. So what I'd like you to do in a conversation is focus on showing your understanding for someone and also asking them questions about how they're feeling so that you can better communicate with them, right? Because sometimes people are in a place where they're not able to hear a certain argument at a time because of how they're feeling. So if you ask them, say, hey, how are you feeling about this? Or do you want to talk about this? And if you really try to understand how someone's feeling in a moment, they'll feel so much more heard by you, kind of like the first step we talked about in being a listener. Like apply what you heard listening and use that in your communication to become more effective and have a deeper conversation. All right, so on to tip number 6 for how to become a better communicator. This one can feel a little bit uncomfortable for some people because some people are afraid to be vulnerable, but let's just state it and we'll see reaction. So I want you to ask for feedback on your communication. After you have a conversation with someone, ask them how you could have done better, right? And this does 2 things at once. One, it communicates to the other person that you're interested in how you come across. You're interested in becoming a better communicator, which is a very attractive trait. Just the want and the desire to be better at something. The second thing it does is this person will probably give you genuine and honest feedback about how you could become a better communicator. It's only helping everyone get better, right? Because that person's gonna have a better understanding of things once you become a better communicator, and you become a better communicator, exactly what you're looking for. So I'm challenging you guys to be vulnerable and be open to asking for feedback, right? It's the best way to get better at something. Genuinely just saying, hey, what can I do better? Just asking someone that, because it's prompting a very honest answer, because it was a very honest and heartfelt question. So I'd encourage you guys to do that, and let me know how that goes. Let me know what type of feedback you get. Drop that in the comments down below. I'm really interested to hear. Also, if you do want to hear feedback like that, you can book a 15-minute call with me down in the description, or just shoot me an email, jackcwagner.com. That's in the description as well. And we can go over these same things. It would be 100% free for your first 15-minute call, and I'd be able to give you a few pointers on how you think, or how I think you could improve as a communicator. All right, so on to final tip number 7. Now, this tip is pretty intuitive, right? The best way to get better at something is by doing that exact thing. So what I'm challenging you guys to do for tip number 7 is communicate more often. Join conversations. Challenge yourself in your conversations, all right? Give yourself different topics. Talk to people that are very good communicators, so your level of communication will have to elevate, right? Communication is like anything else. If you are on a soccer team with soccer players much better than you practicing daily, you're going to rise to their level. The same thing happens with communication. If you are constantly talking and conversing with people that are very skilled speakers, then you'll rise to their skill level. Also, the best communicators are confident. So what I challenge you to do is talk to random people. If you see a stranger at a coffee shop and you just get the urge to talk to them, do it. Ask your coworker how their day is going, and genuinely listen, like we talked about before, and be interested, and keep going, keep talking to them, right? Just talk to people. It's such an amazing trait, and it's the only way that you're going to get better at this. And when you do talk to people, and when you strike up conversation, it's automatically a checklist on that communication thing, right? Because people see that you're confident, and then you're interested, and you want to talk, right? It's one of my favorite things to do as well. I think it's just fun to talk to people and learn about other people's lives. So that does it. Those are 7 tips. But before you go, you actually will not be able to do any of these effectively if you don't have any confidence in yourself, or you don't love yourself. So I'm challenging you to go watch this video right here where I talk about how you can love yourself. All right? I'll see you there. And make sure to subscribe to my email list or subscribe to my podcast. It would really benefit me. I hope you guys have a great day. Go become better.